Hello there, the Phoenix 33. How are you? Thank you for joining me on today. Really appreciate it. We're just going to wait for a few more people to come on. How are you on today? Hello there, just be real. Yep, we are back. Thank you so much for joining me on today. I really appreciate this. Thank you, Haka. Thank you for joining me. Just be real. Danielle, my moderator, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. Fantabulous. We're going to talk about something that many of you probably have dealt with, and that's that blame game. Yes. Hello there, Tashawn. How are you? How are you? I'm so glad that you are here with me on this evening. Ernestine, thank you for being with me on today. I'm excited about being with you all. Thank you. We are going to also go to Clubhouse. So those of you who have Clubhouse, feel free to join me on Clubhouse. Thank you so much. So we are on Clubhouse. Those of you that have access can join me on Clubhouse. We're going to talk a little bit, and that way I can be able to hear you when you come on Clubhouse. Hello there, Grandma JJ. Hello there, how are you? So please join me on Clubhouse. Go under Helen Sattler, Destiny Helper, and you should be able to come on. Moderator, could you make sure I didn't make the same mistake that I did? Okay, I see Ernestine. Did you have any problem, Ernestine, coming on? Hello there, Sheila. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, Danielle. There you go. Make her the moderator. Thank you for being with me. Those of you that can come on Clubhouse, please come on Clubhouse. There you go, Danielle. You have access to bringing people up when I call them, or and bringing them back to the audience. Okay, those of you that are on Clubhouse, please join me on Clubhouse. Thank you so much. Who is that? Hey, Pastor Diane, how are you? Thank you for joining me on Clubhouse. I'm so excited to have you all. Grandma, how are you? Danielle, Tashawn James, Jamise, how are you? We are going to talk about something today, and it's the blame game. Many of you are dealing with this, and you say, I'm so tired of being accused of things that I'm not doing. And the very thing he's accusing me of is the things he's doing. And that's the narcissist way. They always shift blame. They never take responsibility for anything that is done, and they're quick to blame you for what they are doing. And a lot of time the narcissist tells off on himself, because if he tell you you're cheating, he's cheating. If he tell you that that you don't want to be bothered, he don't want to be bothered. So he projects himself onto you, and then once he projects himself onto you, he blames you for that. Hello there, Dr. Williams. How are you, Apostle? We got Sheila. Okay, let's try to bring her up. Danielle, see if you can bring Sheila up for me.
Yes, ma'am. I've sent an invite 3 times. Miss
Okay.
Sheila, I'm sending you the microphone, ma'am. if you'll accept it.
Absolutely. So once you, there you go. Once you accept it, hello there, Felicia. How are you? You all are coming in great, great, great. Okay, Tasha, there you go. So you are coming in. Just keep coming in. Let's try to get her up. So Sheila, what you do is at the bottom, you accept when we pull you up. You accept us pulling you up to the platform. Let's talk about this blame game. It's projection of the narcissist, and based on the narcissist is the result. Some of you have a malignant narcissist. They're physically violent. They're not just vocal physically or psychologically. They are literally physically violent, and they accuse you of things and then get angry at the accusation. And you are telling them, I'm not doing that. I'm not going there. I'm not saying that. I didn't not make the call. And a lot of times the narcissist knows their brain stimulates different, because when the narcissist says something that is undercurrent, a lot of times they believe that they're right. The way they are wired, they don't believe that they're wrong. They believe that you are wrong, and they believe that they are right. And so when the narcissist projects themselves onto you, the narcissists expect for you to take it because they feel a sense of entitlement. They're the most intelligent, they know everything, and you are just an ignorant specimen that should be grateful that they are in your life. Let's talk about the blame game. Let's talk about the blame game. So can you hear me, Sheila? Okay. I think it's very difficult for her. Sheila, what you do is push that accept button at the bottom, and you can be free to speak. Danielle will keep trying to get her up and explain to her, because she keep raising her hand, but
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't think she know how to respond to that. So let's talk about it. Hello there, Butterfly. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Oh, Joanne Boston, how are you? Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about the blame game. When the narcissist blame you for all the problems, and the narcissist is the one that's creating the problems, they're the one that's creating havoc, but they blame you for all of the problems, and they tell you you're always starting something, you're always saying something, you're always doing something, and none of those things, hello Christine, none of those things you are doing. Haka said the narcissist accused me of cheating and wanted me to and wanted married men, and it was always him. Exactly. When the narcissists say that you are cheating, usually they are cheating. And most narcissists does that. Not all narcissists cheat. Not all narcissists cheat, but most of the narcissists are very unfaithful because they get bored with supply. There are narcissists that go between two different women. They usually don't have no more than two or three women, and they will go for years between these two different women. These two women will have children by the narcissist. They will have another whole life, and they will keep bouncing back and forth to that family. Let's talk about that. Thank you so much, Alicia, Pastor D, Dr. Apostle. Thank you so much for joining us. We got Felicia, Trisha, God bless you. We got Sheila. Thank you so much, Ernestine. And of course, my number one moderator, Danielle. So when you are accused by the narcissist of cheating, that's because they are. And Mother JJ said, Grandma JJ said, they are doing the very things that they think that you are doing. She said, then they rage you against you. She said, it's painful and you can't explain anything because they aren't about to hear it. She said, and the noise of that's in their head. The narcissist always, they got a different way of perceiving things. They got a different way of projection. And when you oppose the narcissist, so that's the narcissist, that's narcissistic injury. They do not take anything other than what they want. So when you resist them, they are thinking that you are hurting them, that you are comprising against them, that you are trying to be manipulative. When they are being manipulative, they are sabotaging the relationship, and they accuse you of sabotaging. And a lot of times when the narcissist does the blame game, the narcissist then will even get people involved, like your family, your friends, and then they will lie to them to tell them with that smear campaign of what you're doing. And you'll find your friend trying to talk to you, telling you how you need to change your behavior because you have someone good, you have someone kind, and if you keep on, you're going to lose them, and you can't figure out what they're talking about. And 9 times out of 10, the narcissist went behind your back and smeared your name to your friends, to your families. She said, Christina said, yep. She said, you'll be like, what are you talking about? She said, if you haven't already, she said, be sure that it's on the way. Absolutely. The narcissist will always accuse. They will always blame. And you know what blame does? Blame internally breaks you down. It breaks down your confidence. It gets you to insecurity, where you start to agree if they keep doing that, because blame also leads to gaslighting. And they will gaslight you so until you will start questioning your reality, and you will start saying, I wonder is what the narcissist is saying is true, that maybe I am this, maybe I do this. And when you start to do that, the blame increase, because what the narcissist's goal is to take away your confidence, to take away your security, so they can have control. The narcissist want ultimate control. So we have those who are online. If you have a question and you're on Clubhouse, or you have a comment, please raise your hand and feel free to comment. We are looking forward to hearing from you. And listen to what Butterfly said. She said, after the blame, then they rage and get real quiet. She says, really sad. She said, he threatened discard. She said, and I agreed to the separation. And then he appeared sad. No, that was to get a reaction out of you. A lot of times what happened is the narcissist, hello there, Maria. The narcissist, when they come to you, they already know, because the narcissist is very intentional. And so being intentional, they already know they're going to tear you down. They already know they're going to blame you. They already know that. And so when the narcissists act as if they're going to discard you and they tell you, usually they just want a reaction, because the narcissists, when they discard, they just do it. They just don't show up. They just, and then if they call, it is to get a reaction that they're not coming home. So you can be sad. And then if they really want to charge you, what they would do is tell you, because you are ungrateful, you don't appreciate everything I do, I am not coming home because I need to be somewhere where I can be loved. And you're telling the narcissist, I'm doing everything. What did I do now? And you didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. The narcissists, they are very intentional, and that's their way of control. Do we have anybody on Clubhouse that have anything they want to say? Kim said, yes, I question everything about myself. He blamed me for everything. Kim, don't question anything about yourself, because the narcissist will always devalue you. And that's what blame does. It's a devaluation of your character. It's a devaluation of your person. And that once you stay around that, and you can't stay under that count of hostility, accusation, and it not affect you, because it's going to go over to gaslighting. And gaslighting is to make you feel like you're losing your mind. You don't know what you put down. You don't, and everything you said, the narcissist come back and say, he didn't say that and you didn't say that. Daniel said, we'll love to hear your voice. Absolutely. Absolutely. Is that from Prometheus? Hello, Miss Saddle. Okay, that's the, if we can get rid of that one right there. Remove. There we go. All right. And so what happened, we don't want no predators. So please look and make sure we don't have no predators on board. And then Sadie said, every time I try to end things, it's my fault. She said, I'm childish and crazy. She said, and I'm selfish, and I just changed my number. Absolutely. When the narcissist call you crazy, he need to you to doubt what is happening, because 9 times out of 10 you have challenged them in something that they are doing, something that you don't like. And a lot of times when you do that, you cause a narcissistic injury, and they are wounded, they are hurt, and a lot of times they cannot hide it. They've been caught red-handed, but they're not going to own up to anything, because they're going to project that whatever you accuse them of, they are going to project it upon you. Grandma JJ said, I've been away from the narc for 18 months. She said, but I'm still struggling with my confidence. See, how long were you with him, Mother JJ? Grandma JJ, how long were you with the narcissist? The longer you're with the narcissist, the more time it takes to heal, because the healing takes more time really than the actual abuse, because you have to get out all of those things of the past. She said 5 years. Oh my God. Just think, for every 3 months, it takes 2 years, and you were there for 5 years. That's why, even though you've been gone for 18 months, you are still healing, because the narcissists override and transcribe your mind. They do not leave you with your mind in the state that you came to them. What drew them was that you're kind, you're good, and whatever the narcissists feel that they don't have within themselves, it's what they look for in you. And then once they get it, you remind them, because your humanity start coming out. Then you remind them that you are human and you make mistakes, and you remind them how empty they really are, how vain they really are, and there's no way to hide it, because the narcissist is just like a kid with a new toy. When they get a new supply, oh, they love bomb that supply, they do anything for that supply. But what they do is they forget about who they are, and they transfix themselves in the life of the supply. And as long as you're new, they can just ignore who they really are. You make them lose themselves. And as they get used to them, you remind them of who they really are. So what questions do we have online? Dr. Williams, do you want to comment on that?
Yes, ma'am. The You said the narcissists lose they, they lose themselves in the new person. Is that what I heard?
Right, because they really steal their personality, because the new person remind them of how good they want to be, so they deflect who they are, and they take on that new person character, and they start mirroring that new person. And the old supply, now they don't want the old supply, because the old supply know them, and 9 times out of 10 have challenged them with things that they no longer can get away with.
But also after but the from my understanding, what the narcissist does is even after the old supply gets old, they will still circle around and try that door again when the new supply begins to wear out.
Yeah, but what the narcissist does with the old supply, they never want to lose anything, because when the narcissists get fuel, they come back, especially if the old supply is a permanent supply. If you are prime supply, the narcissist will come back. And 9 times out of 10, because there's sometimes the narcissist got so much supply, they can't backtrack. Because most narcissists, one guy had 250 women in a month.
Wow.
250 women he had in 1 month. 1 month. 250
Wow.
women. So he can backtrack the supply. So in order to get them back and to get their mind back, you have to give a copious amount of fuel. That means you're letting them have their way. You don't contend with them. You don't contest with them at all. They just, whatever they say is right. And then when they start to blame, you take that blame as if you are at fault. Like Mom JJ said, it's been 18 months and she still lacks the confidence because he tore her down, devalued her so that even gone for a year and a half, she's still having trouble with confidence. You know that you definitely, Mom JJ, need to get a good group, a good therapist, so you can start to rebuild. Because after 18 months, if you don't start to handle that, that can go just as deep as you being within the relationship with the narcissist. Your insecurity can grow, your lack of confidence can grow, and it will get deeper. And the narcissist make sure they transfix that lack of confidence, so when they come back, it's easy to get a Hoover, because you feel like you're not whole without the narcissist. And when he come back, you get emotional elated. The narcissist does it on purpose, because the narcissists know with good supply, good fuel, they will be back.
So with the narcissist, they breach the soul. I have a question. So a person that was in that a relationship with the narcissist for a number of years, um, as therapists, we should go in and trace the root of their inception and repair that breach. Because if the breach is not repaired, then that individual will will remain the main supply. Am I right or incorrect in that assumption?
Okay, repeat that, Apostle, again.
I'm saying that, okay. So the narcissist had a main supply, but the main supply broke away. But that main supply that broke away, their soul is breached. So with repairing that soul breach, caused them to less likely be able to reconnect with that narcissist.
Yeah, but see, what happened is when you have been your mind has been basically, it's brainwashed. When you have been brainwashed, they washed out old thoughts and you have to put in new thoughts. And that's what take time, because you have to override systems psychologically. And when you override the system that the narcissist has written to tell you who you are, you forget who you are and you start taking on the words of the narcissist, dictating to you your identification. And so when you leave the narcissist, you got to get a new identification card. And the thing is, he have engraved and stamped his value system upon your mind. So that's why it take healing. The Bible said to transform, to bring your mind to a place of permanence where it doesn't go back. And that take time, because if it take 13 words for every toxic word, and they've spoken thousands and probably millions of words, you can imagine how long it takes to transpose the mind back in position of wholeness, back in position of healness, where you feel good about yourself. When you look in the mirror and you don't see toxicity, you see life and you see freedom and you see where you can recover and you can see where you do it again. And that's why we have group therapy, or a good therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor to deal with you, to help you get past that dark room, get past those dark places, come out of that forest of devaluation and to rebuild who you are. So it's possible that all damage that was done to your soul realm, and your soul realm is your mind, your will, your emotion, your desires, is your imagery. And so all of that can be healed and recovered. It's just take time, and the recovery is going to take more, because it's easy to get hit. It's easy for the narcissist to overthrow your mind. It's easy for the narcissist to put that blame on you and you take it. But now recovery, it takes a process of recovery, and you have to let that recovery down low, meditate on that recovery, let that recovery line your mind, bring you back to your original stasis. And that's where most of the time happens. Angelique said, yes, she does. She said, sometimes you have to. She said, he's working on me. She said, but it didn't work. He knew strong will. So you were strong will, able to overthrow what the enemy does. The narcissist become the sleeping with the enemy. because you feel more of an enemy than you do love. And you feel now that you are having an inner course attack in your own home, that your greatest enemy is that who come home to you every day or whenever he comes home, and you feel that your threat zone is your intimate place. And if your threat zone become your intimate place, that's your trust. You're going to have problems trusting people, because the place that you're supposed to trust, the place you're supposed to relax, is where you most uptight. You don't know whether to freeze, you don't know whether to run, you don't know anything. And so thank you so much, Phoenix 33. So you don't know what to do. And this is why the narcissist is intentionally blaming and projecting his mindset, projecting his emotions on you. And he know when you're weak, because remember, the narcissist studies you, because they have no sense of personality that has any good about them. They don't love, they don't care, And so when you come into who you are, especially the empath, and you care, they are going to hit the most vulnerable place, because the narcissists crave your goodness. They crave the way you care for people. They want to do it, but they can't do it, because the least little things stirs them up to hatred. The least little thing stirs them up to fallacy. And she said, narcissists brainwash you. She said, it's not that you are weak or a sapar. They experience trauma. It takes you a while to take yourself back and rebuild your life wholeness, one baby step at a time. Absolutely. And Pinky K, hello there, Pinky K. How are you? Good afternoon. How are you? Well, it's good evening over here. Hello, Gee. How are you? And what else do we have here? She's a great analogy, sleeping with the enemy. Absolutely. That's why some of you got problem with your heart rate. You got problems with your blood pressure. You got problems with your hormonal system. You got problems with your stomach. Some of you are taking Tagaments and other things. You got problems with your blood sugar. You have all of these problems that as a result, you are having headaches. You're having dizzy spells. It seems like you're nauseated all the time, and you just have all these little aches and pains that you should not have in your body. And this occurred when you got with the narcissist. And since you've been with the narcissist, you're always needing to go to the doctor. You're always sick. Your food don't settle. Your sleep habits has been interrupted, because when you are unloved, you were made to be loved. And that's the one thing the narcissist can't give you. They can't give you love. They can't settle you, because the narcissists themselves is not settled. They don't give you stability. They uproot your stability. They don't give you focus. They break your focus, because the narcissists, whether they're a husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, they are a distraction to what's right. So we see, do we have any questions? So Marie, what do you think of that?
What I have to add to that is everything you're saying is 100% correct, because once the longer that I stayed in God and in and into His chambers at the ministry, I began to wake up to things. I began to find out who I was. That made it very hard for Him to continue the facade, because God was removing the scales from my eyes about a lot of things. And it was like I was sleeping with the enemy. Some of the medical problems I had right after that, or during that process, was, digestive issues, acid reflux, different things like that. Trusting somebody, that took a long process. But also with that too, I had to be 100% honest with myself about what had just taken place, like for real. Like, I wasted all this time, and then not only was I affected, but my children were affected too. So I got to heal, and my children have to heal from this. And it took, just going through the process, not finding somebody else to be with, not finding, other things to do, but really going through this thing sober-mindedly.
Absolutely. You know, when you go through, the whole family go through. And if it's hard on you, just think how difficult then it is for a child, a 3 year old, a 6 year old, or a teenager, especially if they're the scapegoat. And even the golden child don't have a right to decide all of their what they're going to do, what they're going to be, what they're going to say, what they're going to wear is decided for them. And then when they don't do it, the narcissist blame. He picks children against each other and start blaming the children. And you know what the children start doing? The children start blaming each other. They start blaming each other, and they blame the supply that the narcissist is resistant, and the narcissist end up being the champion of the house because the narcissist has the stronger will. And then you start having problems with your children. They start having problems in school. They don't feel loved. They feel rejected. They don't know what's wrong with them. They feel different and they feel out of place. And sometimes some children of narcissists are very suicidal because they just don't fit in, especially if they are empath. They're super sensitive as it is. And then you have this blame game coming in there. So everything is an unreality. And
That's
so,
very true.
yeah,
That is true.
absolutely. It is a non-reality. So then your children start rebelling. The children, and then when they rebel, if you got a strong-willed narcissist, he bring in severe punishment for the child, or he keeps himself away from the child. And the children need love. They will do anything to get the love of that narcissist parent, because most of the time the children are not hungry for the parent that they have. They are only hungry for the parent that they don't have. And that's why some mothers get offended when they've given their life to the child. They spend all this time with the child. And what the child want the dad. Why? Because the child is deprived of the dad. So they're hungry for the dad. They're thirsty for the dad. They're not thirsty for the mom. And the narcissist is intentional. You're not the first supply. They done been through this over and over and over again. You know, even Tom Jones. Tom Jones, when he was married to his wife, he always cheated. And his wife knew he cheated, but she would never leave him. She stayed, she died with him. And when she died, he said he hated the way he treated her. But Tom Jones would have 200-300 women, he said, all the time. And she knew it. See, that's the transcribed mind. That's the overwrite. And when you overwrite a person's mind, you download new thoughts. And when you download new thoughts, that becomes their thinking. And that's why the narcissists blame. Because when they blame, they're going to gaslight you. They're going to accuse you. You're not going to know whether you're going or coming. You're not going to know whether it's your fault or not. And so after a while, when you get those fingers pointed at you, after a while, you start pointing at your own fingers. And you start saying, maybe I'm the narcissist. Maybe something is wrong with me. It can't be all him. If he keeps saying that, and then if he get in a group of people with a smear campaign, then of course you start believing, because you start thinking everybody can't be wrong. But he done went out and he done got flying monkeys. They're all against you. He done got next to your family, because especially if you got a covert narcissist, they are the most charming in public, but they are the most vicious in private. So let's get some more comments of what we're saying here. And we have a comment from Patricia. She said, I am so glad to be free. She said, and back to the Lord. She said, what a relief. She said, it was a process. So ladies, hang in there. She said, God knows what you're going through and he will remove you. Be patient with yourself. And see, I think what happens too is when we're used to the normal, traditional definition of marriage, of a person who loves you, care for you. So what you're trying to do is get a person who have an inability to even offer the love that takes a covenant, that takes a marriage to work. They can't even do it. They can't even initiate it, because the love you got was love bombing. That was manipulative. It was manipulative and guys under a lie. It wasn't even the truth. And the man that you met is not the man or woman that you're living with. That person don't even exist. Who you dated don't even exist. It's like a fallacy. It's like going to the theater, and once the program is over, people change in their real personality. And the person that was on the stage is no longer the person that was existing. And that's the way it is when you get married. The person that you was dating, that's not the person now that is existing. That was the person that was on the stage. And when you dated them, that stage performance was in operation. And because they was a good actor or a good actress, you applaud them, gave them a standing ovation, and you rewarded them with your love. You rewarded them with your time. And now the screen is pulled and the act is over, and the character that was on stage is gone. And you are left with substandard. And this is not the person you fell in love with, but it's the person you're dealing with, because now you're living with them. Now you're married to them, and you're wondering, where is that person? Well, that person will never exist again. That person would never be again, because by the time you get the narcissist has mirrored somebody else. The narcissist has mirrored another supply. So the narcissist is bringing you who they've been with, and by the time the narcissist come back, you never get what was left, because he is mirroring what he has been with, and he bring new traits back. Like he took you to somebody else, and the traits you were, he took to them. Now he's bringing them back to you. Yeah, she said dating their representative. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Angelique said, yeah, very true. She said, exactly. It is total deception. Lucy 2021 said, maybe they are schizoid. She said, and some narcissists do have multi-personalities. Some of them, those cluster bees, they have those multi-personalities. And some of them are so wicked, they didn't need anything else to be going on with them. Because you never knew them. You never knew who you had. Ooh, my eyelashes here. There you go. You never knew who you had. And the person that you have is not the person you dated. That's not who you dated. You dated Quinn that was with Queenie. And now you married the person and they're with you. So they taking on some of your personality to get you to fall in love with them. And once you fall in love with them, now you think it's you. And it was really them. It was them that you loved. It was you that you love. And so now this person has got your good qualities, and when they discard you, they're going to take that discard to somebody else. And now the supply is falling in love with the character that they got from you. And then because they with a new supply, now they're bringing back that person to you. And then they're blaming you because you're questioning them, where you get that from? Why are you so different? And they say, I'm not different. You're different. You're not acting the same. And they start blaming you for being different, when the truth of it is the difference was in them. They've changed because of who they've been with, and who they've downloaded with, who they are mirroring, who they are reflecting. And they are mad because they brought their reflection home and you were able to pick up on it. She's a change of character, definitely. And Tony said, I think my daughter is dating and mirroring a narc. I hope not. I pray not, because she's getting ready to go through hell. Sadie said, he was with the new supply, but always came back to me. He never wanted to end things with me. No. Why? Because it's a trump card. It's a trump card. The narcissist never want to be without supply, but you are not enough supply for them. So he goes to the new supply because it's like that glitter. He comes to the old supply because it's a sure thing. He knows you know how to treat him. He knows you. He knows what caused you to tick. And he knows that you're going to give him copious amount of fuel, because 9 times out of 10, you don't want to lose them. And you'll do anything they say. She said, it's been a week or so. Tony says, it's been a week. Ooh, that is young. She's only 17. Oh, my God. You know what, Tony? We are just praying that that is not the case, that she's with a narc, because he will destroy her. And she's too young emotionally for what they have to give, because they don't care if she's young. They will drive her in the ground. He started gaslighting her, and her little young, formidable mind don't know that. He could break her. He could break her because she's inexperienced, and he can break her down and totally subwrite her conscious mind until she would take the blame and think something is wrong with her, and nothing is wrong with her. And the one thing I found out, when people think something is wrong with them, they go back to the predator to prove that they are all right, and they keep getting into predatory situation where the predator keep them. And that's when the trauma bonding come in. That trauma bonding is long-term care and abuse, and they keep you there like a Stockholm syndrome. You fall in love with your killer, you fall in love with your abuser, and you feel comfortable with other people being abused. And so, doing this mindset, the narcissists know when you point the finger at somebody, you cause them to look at themselves. And when you're looking at yourself and blaming yourself, you're looking away from the narcissist. You're not holding the narcissist accountable. You're holding yourself accountable, while the narcissist is doing whatever they want to do. The narcissists want to be free to go, even married, and some narcissists tell people that they're married, but they'll tell them, I just want to be loved. My wife don't love me. My husband don't love me. And then this person, especially an empath, feel obligated to care for this person. They feel obligated to love this person. And when they feel obligated to love this person, it takes energy. And then you start putting all of your energy, all of your desires, and you don't realize that you're digging a well. And the deeper you dig, the more you hit the water. And when you hit that well, that water seems different. That water seems fresh. And that's the way it is with a narcissist. And you don't realize that you've been a prey and that you've been captured until you're deep in. But the narcissists, they try to hold that mask as long as they can, because once the mask come off, all hell break loose. She said, my mom said that I don't love her. Yeah. And really, it's them. It's really them. She said, please pray for me, y'all. I don't know what to do. This is Tony. Tony, because she's 17, if you don't have any influence, she's getting ready to go through something. She's going to go through something with the narcissist until she comes to the realization of herself. So the prayer would be that she quickly come to herself. Because if she quickly come to herself, she will move herself away from present danger. And then you need to pray for influencers that come into her life. Influencers that's going to take her mind off of the narcissist. Because 9 times out of 10, if she's 17 years old, she done fell so deep what she think is love, and she's giving her whole self over, and she wants it to work, and they don't know. And sometimes when you're with the narcissist, you don't know how to pull it out, because the addiction has already occurred, your emotional imbalance has already occurred, and the narcissist is pulling you in, magnetizing you in, willing you in, and you're going deeper the more you fight. And then when the cognizant dissonance start happening, that means you seeing stuff, but you deflect it. You don't take it as a reality, because you keep adding excuses, and you keep implementing substitution in the place of abuse, saying, if I do this, then maybe he will let me hang in here long enough and he'll change. There is no changing with that narcissist. He don't want to change. He don't see where he needs to change. He see where you need to change. Remember, entitlement, privilege, grandiosity, they feel that. And when they feel that, they feel like you should be privileged to even have them in your life, to even have them talk to you. And some narcissists will tell you, you should be glad that I'm here. They would give, most women or men will give their right arm just to be where you are. So they feel that they are really privileged. Tony said, yep, you sure right. She said, deliver her, Lord. We touch and agree. Absolutely. Absolutely. If you know, strong prayer is definitely gonna get her. And then we have me 69 say malignant narcissists enjoy every bit of pain they inflict. Then they go to the point of where nothing he did hurts. See, and the thing about it, all narcissists cause pain. The malignant narcissists cause greater pain. They can be more dangerous because the malignant narcissists may not only cause pain, they cause fatalities. When you cross them, the way their mind is like a sociopath or a psychopath, you cross them, they feel that injury and they are angry and the rage happen. And some of them even black out in their minds. When you cross them, they can't believe that you, a little specimen, have the nerve to cross this important mind, this important guy, this guy or woman with great potential, and that you should have been just really privileged to be in their place. A lot of them can grow violent. That's why you got to know. I got a video. Please go and look at this video. When the supply has had enough. When the supply has had enough. Tony, go look at my video about the 20 traits of the narcissist in dating, and let your daughter listen to it, because she may get those traits and see some of those traits, and it may alert her and wake her up to these. There's 5 videos, and by the time I finish explaining, it's very little that I leave out in the dating process, because she may see those. The only thing that happens that we need to pray against is the cognizant dissonance, when she start to deflect, when she start not to take the reality, when she don't want to believe that what is there is not there, so she tries to subsidize with lies. All righty. So I don't have any questions on Clubhouse. Do we have any questions? Trisha, is there something that you want to say on Clubhouse? Nobody have any questions? Nobody have any statements? All right. So what y'all telling me that I'm being very thorough here.
Yes, you are being very thorough, Mom.
Oh,
Everything, the nail on the head, every last one.
oh, okay. She said,
Absolutely.
um, Tony said before she left, I was sending her stuff, but I will do it again. She said, I've been studying this for almost 3 years now, and she used it against me only because of the narcissist. It's not her. She's 17. She don't even know what she's doing. Yes, Pastor D, what do you want to say?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to
Yes, speak just a little bit louder for me.
okay, I'm sorry. When it comes to a narcissist, you have your male and then you have your female.
Uh-huh.
And so my question is that which one is the worst, if you want to put it in a category, out of the two?
They're both worse, but the female can be very catty, very detailed because of the nature of how a woman is. And they say some of the worst narcissists are female, even though the most narcissists are male.
I totally agree to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I do have a quick comment. Everything that has been presented, absolutely true. I did the calculations. It would take me 94 years to be completely healed after being in a 23-year marriage with a narcissist. So that makes me about 154 years old. So if Jesus tarries, I might still be alive. But I do agree with everything that has been said and presented, that I have experienced everything and to multiple different levels as well. Being in a relationship for 23 years, constantly, under that blame game. And I never really knew what it was. I was like always questioning myself. And I had an extremely sharp memory. And after so many years, I started to question myself and everything. And I think the hardest thing now, as far as in the healing process, is my memory, because
Absolutely.
very difficult, the focus to, because I was a very focused person. I could memorize volumes and everything, and so that's the hardest thing, because I draw blanks a lot of times, and that is a process, to constantly retrain your mind and thinking and everything to where you're not living in that, not necessarily a fog, but drawing that blank all the time.
Absolutely. But that show you the amount of stress that is on your mind from the narcissist. Anytime you with someone that changed the biological, the chemical makeup, the psychological makeup that affects every functionality of your body, that needs to be recognized. That needs to be considered. And if you stay with the narcissist long enough, you'll notice you're aging and it seems like they're getting younger.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so it takes time to rewrite an overridden mind, because you go in with a certain mind, the narcissist overwrite it, and now you are transforming an overridden mind, not only to get it back to the original state, but to get it beyond where it was. So you have to deal with the damage that the narcissist subscribed, that overrode who you were. You got to find that person, because that person got lost in the midst, and now you have become who you're not. And part of yourself start to come back when the narcissists come, leave, because you, the fog leave, you start thinking right, and then finally you realize what was wrong with me. How did I take all of that? Why did I stay so long? Why didn't I get out? Okay, now the reality of that is starting to hit.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree to that. I mean, I do have a specialist doctor that deals with, with sleep apnea. And because of all of the emotional abuse and the gaslighting and what have you, and I was even talking to her, and she really gave me a revelation that because of where you're at in the state that you're in, with your sleeping and what have you, that it does affect a lot of your memory.
It does. When you're
Yeah.
sleep deprived, period, that can affect
Yes,
you. Just think
absolutely.
about that, that you're no longer sleeping on a schedule, and then once you break that cycle of sleeping, you're going to find yourself having many sleepless nights. Now you training yourself to sleeplessness, and then now you got to train yourself back to sleep.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I thank God for Into His Chambers, and everyone there, including you. This was the saving grace, and I really totally believe that God had directed me through the Holy Spirit to Into His Chambers, that really had opened up my eyes as far as really understanding. Now this is what I know, that I've been dealing with, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And once I started coming and everything started to be revealed, I could see now.
Absolutely. We have here MMXW said, she said, please get out. I start to lose my memory on the 5th. She said, and last year, she said 10/20/21 would be 2 years of no contact. 2 years.
Wow.
See, it takes time. And I
It
think if
does.
people knew how much time it takes to recover, you wouldn't stay in that manner of abuse. Because a lot of times we got our children in there too. We thinking of what we're going through. But if you're an adult going through that, can you imagine what your children are subject to?
Apostle, can I make a comment right there?
Yes.
Um, that right there, if that's what you're going through as an adult, your children are going through even 10 times more than you are. And they're trying to figure out and make sense of stuff. And in their mind, they're trying to calculate, and it doesn't calculate up. So they're trying to overcompensate for an area where you're deficient because of what the narcissist did. Um,
Absolutely.
So the sooner that you can get out, the better. So that way you can start the healing process, because that goes once you wake up. I'll speak for myself. Once I woke up to what was going on and what was happening, I knew what I had to do after I got out of the situation. But I didn't know the steps to do it at first. I didn't until everything started to come to a head. It affected my work performance. It first was my sleep and my memory. Then it was my work performance. And then it just got deeper and crazier where
Absolutely.
I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know how to answer it. And like Pastor Diane was saying, that coming to into his chambers and just having the answers to questions that I did not understand, and problem solving and how to deal with these different issues. That's what helped me get out of it. So I say to the women that are just getting out and you went totally no contact and you are being hard on yourself, don't be hard on yourself like that, because some people did not make it out. You made it out. So it's going to take time. Stay in the process. Trust God in the process. Trust the process and heal. And you're going to be so glad that you did.
Absolutely. Excellent advice. I love that.
Mom.
Nietzsche says, Miss Sadler, she said, I've been married for 20 years with a covert narcissist. She said, and with a 19-year-old daughter, she said, I need you. She said, I need help. You know, of course you do. 20 years? 20 years is a lot of years of recovery. 20 years. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to talk to your daughter, because your daughter probably got some serious situations that are happening in her mind. And she probably got a misjudgment of what love is or what care is. And you got to make sure you demagnetize her to every narcissist frequency. Or when she go out, she's going to yield to that frequency, and she's going to draw what she knows. She's going to draw what she experienced. She's going to draw what she becomes. And the one thing you don't want her to do, Nietzsche, is Nakia, is when she draw what you've been through for 20 years, and you start to identify those traits. You start to identify the characteristic. You start to identify the different modes that is happening, and you are saying, I don't want my child to go through this, but that's all she knows. So when you stay in there, you are transcribing what she think love is. And people who don't went through a narcissist relationship, they're able to handle abuse because they think abuse is love. My mom took it, so it must be okay. And it's not okay. But that's all she know is what she have seen. So, and you have to realize how much life you have left and what you want to do to live. And you have to make decisions towards that.
Mom.
Yes, let me read this, Apostle, and then you can go. LW said, me too. She said, sleep deprived and confused. She said, I can't even focus at work. LW, so how long have you been NC again? She said, sadly, my dad is a narc, and I used to attract them. She said, but I thank God I rebuked those unions. Absolutely. She says, Miss Sadler, Nikhil said, I'm separated from him for 2 months now. Well, you got 2 months now that you can rearrange your daughter's structure of love. You can enter into the psychological and penetrate her heart with prayer. And you can show her what love is. Get her to see how big life is. Start implementing in those spaces, those vacant spaces. Start implementing information and knowledge, and let her experience, take her around loving people, caring people, so she can see a different side, and you may not always be able to share your pain because she already got a whiff of that and she already think that's the norm. So show her a new normal. Yes, Apostle.
How do we deal with the aftermath after the the vacuum that is left in the believer's life or the individual's life after the narcissist, um, after they have broken away from the narcissist, the vacuum? How do we deal with the vacuum?
With the vacuum, you got to demagnetize so they won't get sucked back in. You got to change the frequency by changing the mind. You got to go in the mind and see the damage that is done. You got to refixate the mind on truths, because all of those are lies, and their mind has been filled with lies of what the narcissist says love is. And so now you got to take them to truth. And truth may be hard, because once you've been in a dark room and then you come out in the light, it hurts your eyes. And but the eyes, if you stay in the light, the eyes will start to adjust and acclimate to the light. So what you got to do is take them out of that dark place, bring them through the light with information. That's why we do these videos. When you listen to these videos, you find yourself getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And then you get more positive energy that you are able to exuberate in your life. And this positive energy will start building trust factor, building confidence, taking away fears, removing the fog. And you start to sleep so the brain can replenish and your body start to heal. Your mind start to heal. You start attracting different people because your magnet has changed. And then you start growing again. So you have to diffuse that old frequency and demagnetize that old frequency by putting in new information.
So this particular individual that I'm dealing with, I went and I prayed with them to change that magnet out. They were saying, well, this was 15 years ago, but I picked traces of it, the residue still left there, and they're thinking that they're fine. But when I talk with them, they are engaging in other people that's in ministry that's trying to do they magnetize some of the parallel people. Some parallel people is what I'm trying to say. That was like the other individual. The only difference is she's not allowing a deep connection is what was there before.
Right. And she has to change her mind. Her mind has to be loaded. She needs probably to be in group therapy, a good life coach that is familiar with it, a good therapist. When they are traumatized, they need a trauma specialist that is a therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist, a counselor that is experienced with narcissism, because the recovery takes more time than the abuse. The abuse can happen in 6 months. The recovery can take 4 years, because even after you leave, you got to get the ecosystem out of your mind. The narcissist echo his voice, and we have one young lady said that this is Grandma JJ. She said, I lost my career. Had to work two part-time jobs at 58 years old. At 58, she lost her career behind that, because you're trying to settle your mind, which is where the enemy attacked. He attacked your thoughts, but they pull your emotions, and they pull your emotions so it can override your mind, and you live by your emotions instead of living by your thoughts. They don't want your thoughts. They want you to feel, because when you feel, you want to get away from the pain, and the pain may be necessary so you can get into truth, but you compromise with the narcissist. You give the narcissist whatever they want, because they're going to blame you for everything, and you don't want that blame game. So you surrender and submit to their every whims, and eventually it put an indentation on your mind. When you leave, you still got that dent in your mind. And you got to straighten that dent out just like a car. You got to pull that dent out by putting other information that press against the indentation of the narcissist. And it pulled that dent out of your mind, where your mind goes back to its original strength, its original form, and goes back to the truth. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Did I answer your question, Dr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. And listen to this. Empath with an attitude say, yes, ma'am, my mother tried to run me over. See, physical violence. Angelique said the narc never really slept. Then brag how they're good, only that they only needed what little sleep. She said, and trying to they will keep you awake all night. Because when the narcissists don't sleep, they don't want you to sleep. The narcissists know a roaming vagabond spirit is a wanderer. That wandering spirit don't need rest. that wandering spirit. And when they do rest, they don't cause damage, and they are happy that you're sad. They are happy that you are unhappy. So they go to sleep and sleep real good. And you cannot sleep at all. And then when they get up with blame. They get up with devaluation. They get up with word salad. They get up with gaslighting. And they keep you on the road all the time, where your system is constantly going on overload. You are overloaded with stress. All of that cortisol going through your body. It is not good. It's not good for your organs. Your heart rate is off balance, and you're living by fear. Fear is a paralyzation of truth. It won't allow the truth to come forth. And because if you have the truth, the Bible says you'll know the truth, and the truth will make you free. It will design your freedom. And you are a creature that is used to freedom. You are not used to bondage. It's highway robbery to have this freedom taken away from you just because someone's selfish whims need to be satisfied. But like the young lady say here, 20 years of marriage, 20 years with a covert. Can you imagine the damage that was done for 20 years? Come on. We have people that have been here for 50 years, 60 years, and the damage, and been with somebody for 60 years, and on the 61st year, they leave you, they discard you. You never have a permanent fix with a narcissist. A narcissist can be 89 years old, and they will leave you at the 89th year unless they are totally in need of supply. They will leave you and go somewhere else just to strike you, just to prove that they can keep doing. The older the narcissists get, the more fuel the narcissists need, because they have an inability, they don't have their strength anymore. So they really start working the systems of manipulation and persuasion. Boy, I tell you, y'all bringing it out today. She said, I told that narc that I loved, that I was in love in my past relationship. And he said, well, she said, that's the past, and you have to fight for your life. That is really, really crazy. LW said, left my husband after 34 years, married 29 years, moved out 1 year and 1 month ago. Yeah, and see, as you enjoy being out, see, first, when you leave, when you've been under stress and duration, first it seemed like absolute freedom, and then your mind start working. Then you go into question. Then you go into anger. Then you go into the process of what I do to stay free. Should I go back? Especially if you be in Hoover. Should I go back? You know, especially in the religious circle, and they tell you God hate divorce and you are being abused, and they want you to go back in there. God don't want you abused. I want to say that on the behalf of God, because many of you are staying into situation because you believe that God wants you in that abuse. God want a marriage, and marriage, when you look in Genesis, when Adam was married, it was Eve gave to him. He didn't give poison to her. And you don't want to be in a relationship where there's toxicity and poison running through all the system, because all major organs will die from being poisoned. And your major organs is your character, your confidence, your success, all of the things, because after a while you get so distraught you can't even work. Like the young lady said, she lost her career and had to work. Mom JJ said, Grandma JJ said she had to work 2 jobs. Come on here. 58 and working 2 jobs. That of a young woman she had to do. Because once they leave, they strip you. They don't want to leave you with nothing. The courts has to make a demand on the narcissist to award you what rightfully belong to you. Because the narcissists don't want to give you anything. They don't want to give you any reprieve. They can be a multimillionaire. They'll rather see you homeless. That's who they are. So stand in a relationship that is not workable. Stand in a relationship that you're not even care for. What benefit is it to die and not fulfill your future? What benefit, what legacy do you leave for your children, that everything can die out and that you can't fulfill your goals, your dreams, and that life is a punishment instead of a blessing? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Angelique said, believe haven't attracted any more narcissists will be praying. She said not to visit narcissist pain, emotion, psychologically with me. She said, believe that's why I keep hoovering. They know that you have escaped and broken loose. A narcissist can't stand your freedom. They hate when you escape because that means they lost. A narcissist hate to lose. And they will do everything in their power to win you back. And then the next week they're gone. The next day they're gone. They just want to win at any cost. So when you leave, you can't consider going back. It's worse when you go back because you are traumatized and punished for even thinking that you could leave. And so they get you back. So you'll think twice about leaving again. And Queen Jean said, right, they sleep like a baby in the midst of arguments. Absolutely. That's their forte. They're divided within, so they divide without. A narcissist is like a deep well with no water. All when you get to the bottom, the only thing that's in the bottom is rodents and different bugs. There's no water. There's no life-giving source that's in that well. There's nothing in that well that's going to give you life. It's going to only give you death. It's going to make you sick because the narcissist does not have in their mind change. The narcissist does not have in their mind change. The narcissist don't want change. They don't want you to change. They don't want you to grow. They don't want you to expand. They don't want you happy because they are not happy. And when they are not happy, they will not leave you happy. They will start a smear campaign. They will wake you up out of the sleep and say, why are you sleeping when you know I'm hurting? And you're looking at them like, I didn't know you were hurting. And then they just start an argument out of nowhere. And then they start a discard so they can run off to some other supply while you're there at the house. And then 2 or 3 days later, they come back and say, I just needed to think. They didn't need to think. They did more than think. But that new supply, a lot of times they don't want imagery. They don't want people to know that their relationship failed. So they'll come back just to prove that their relationship is successful. And it's not because they don't give what it takes to have a successful relationship. So what else do we have here? She said, my narc would say that I'm up, everyone is up. Keep on talking about the Bible scripture. Yeah. A religious narcissist is the worst kind because they use God as a mean to handle their selfishness. And MMXW say God wants us to be at peace and not suffering. Absolutely. Angelique said, believe it. They are takers. Yep, they don't want to give anything. LW said, thank you for saying that. Church doctrine married unto death and tell you to stay. Let me tell you something. I have been in situations where church mothers have told women to go back into a relationship. They never made it out. They never made it out. Some of these women had young babies listening to foolish advice. God do not want you to be abused. The Bible said that he that destroyed the temple of God, him will God destroy. God don't want your temple destroyed. That includes your mind. Psychological abuse is just as bad as physical abuse. It's even worse. Physical abuse can heal. Psychological abuse goes while you're sleeping, goes everywhere with you. God don't want you abused physically, psychologically, in any form, socially, financially. He wants you totally provided for because that's what he does. And he wants you free. He wants you joyous. God wants you happy. And when you are married to someone, to love someone, it should be because you are happy and not because you're being tormented. That should not be the legacy of your relationship. So we're going to take a few more questions. If you have any more questions here on Clubhouse or any more questions here on YouTube, I'm going to answer those questions, and we're going to bring this to a close. And then I will meet you on the next video. And I want to thank you, those of you that support me. Though, thank you so much, even for the comments, those of you who are emailing me, and those of you who have sessions with me, and you have said how better these sessions have made you, how you got your strength back, how the fog leave, how you're in the stasis of recovering. Thank you for those compliments and those comments. I really, really appreciate it, because it is my heart's desire to see you maximize, to see the best of you come forward. And this is why I do these videos in the midst of my traveling, in the midst of my busy schedule. And I have a busy schedule. And I want you to know that I love doing these videos. I love the comments that you make. Those of you that want to have sessions with me, you can feel free to call me or write me. So write me at destinyhelper12s at gmail.com. And then once you write me, leave your contact information, and I can put you on the schedule, and you and I would discuss the processes of what it takes to have these sessions. And some of you, we are on Pacific Standard Time, those of you who are contacting me. And if you're out of the country, some places I'm 9 hours, 8 hours, 11 hours ahead of you. So make sure you adjust your time to Pacific Standard Time. And I want you to know that I appreciate you more than you know. I am so blessed to have you on this portal with me and listening to the information that God gives me for you. I am so happy that it's a blessing for you and to you. Now, once again, my daughter, Dr. Brian, oh, thank you so much to Sean. I really appreciate that. Thank you for that financial gift. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Dr. Bryan is having a conference the 31st of July, and she's going to be in Dallas. And also, if you can't go to Dallas, you can come on Zoom. I want you to go to Dr. Bryan, Carmen Bryan, Carmen, and Bryan, Bryant, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse, on YouTube, and get all the information for the conference. You definitely don't want to miss this, especially those of you who have a recent discard, recent escape, and those of you who are clear and you are still having problems sleeping, you still having problems mentally. This conference would be a blessing to you, because a lot of your answers is going to come through the women and men that she have. So once again, Dr. Carmen Bryan, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. Please attend this conference. The VIP is closed because it's full. So I will definitely get on the move, because this conference is filling up very, very fast. I'm going to read one last statement, and this is RX's. She said, hello, Helen Saller, can you please do a video on male narcissists that's good looking? Those are somatic. I already have one. And how they use their bodies. Thank you. I have a video dealing with somatic narcissists that is total visual, that is obsessed with how they look and obsessed with the people that is with them. They are obsessed with imagery. So you can go on my YouTube and look for Helen Sattler, Destiny Helper, Somatic Narcissist, and that video will come up for you. She said, thank you, said I always enjoy your open podcast. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, Dr. Carmen Bryan, Overcoming Narcissist Abuse. You're going to really love that. And she said, yes, obsessed with their looks and body. Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Sadler. Your knowledge and support is a lifesaver. I really, really appreciate that. You all are so excellent. And those of you who are stay with me on Clubhouse, thank you so much. If you are not following me on Clubhouse, make sure you follow me on Clubhouse. And whenever I come on, you will be notified. I come on every Monday at 7:45. And I mean, we have topics that are life-changing. So those of you who are on Clubhouse, thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you on in another room. God bless you. Have an awesome time. All right. So Those of you that are on, remember, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, subscribe. Push that bell, and every time I upload, every time I come on, every time I come on live, you will be alerted, and you will be with my YouTube family. These women and men are so awesome. They help me to look good because their experience and their knowledge is powerful, is second to none. And I guarantee you, you will leave off this port very blessed from the knowledge that they've had and the experience that they have. And see, the narcissist took you to a classroom and gave you information that is just invaluable information. And look at the people that you are helping. Look at the people lives are being saved because of what you went through, because you made it through. Like Maria said, many people didn't make it through. I know people that didn't make it through. I know women who lost their lives dealing with a narcissist. They stayed too long, or they went back to the narcissist. God caused them to escape, but they got into their emotions and got into their condemnations and fears that he had overridden their mind and made them feel guilty because they left for safety measures and went back, and they never made it out. That is not going to be you. You are more powerful than that. You can overthrow and overcome everything that you've ever been through. Nothing is too hard for you. You are a champion. You made it through 20 years. Come on. You made it through 5 years, 2 jobs, 58 years old. Oh, you are a champion. And if they ever seen what champions look like, I wish they would come on my live, because you are absolute champs. Thank you so much. And I want you to know, once again, you can write me, destinyhelper12s at gmail.com, and leave your information, your phone number, your email information. Let me know what state or East Coast, West Coast, so I'll know the time difference, or if you're calling out of the country. I want you to know that there is an answer for you, and you don't have to stay there. There is another place of excellence for you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Those of you, keep looking at those videos. Go look at those videos. Don't stop. Even if you've seen them once, go back again. The more you see them, the deeper your deliverance come, the deeper your freedom come. And you are, especially if you escape, even a discard can be a blessing when it talks about your life, when it talks about your freedom. Thank you so much. And guess what? I'm going to see you on the next video. I love you all. Thank you so much. Ted, how are you? She said, turns out all narcs can turn violent at any given moment. You can't even trust their character. Jennifer, thank you so much. Nakia, and all of you that are on. And most of all, thank you so much for my moderator. She is second to none. She is excellent. And I love you so much. Thank you so much. All right. I love you all. God bless you. Phoenix, thank you for that financial gift. I'm so grateful for it, and I appreciate you. I will see you all on the next video. And remember, go back and listen to this video. Don't just come live and not look at it. Go back and listen to this video. Let it speak to your heart again. You deserve the best, because you are the best. I'm Helen Sadler, and I am your destiny helper. God bless you.